토트넘의 손흥민이 이번 시즌 세 번째 이주의 팀에 선정되면서 현지에서는 레전드로 불리는 축구 전문가들조차 손흥민에 대한 극찬을 이어가고 있습니다. 토트넘은 개막 후 9경기에서 7승 2무로 한 번의 패배도 없이 1위를 유지하고 있는데요. 리그 9경기에서 거둔 승점이 무려 23점. 압도적인 흐름을 보여주면서 아직 이르긴 하지만 토트넘이 이번엔 정말로 우승에 도전할 수 있을 거란 분위기가 커지고 있습니다. 영국 현지에서도 이에 대해 흥분한 상태인데요. 영국 토크스포츠는 토트넘이 괴물구단이 됐다. 우승 영순위 토트넘이라는 표현을 사용하며 토트넘의 우승 가능성에 대해 이야기하기 시작합니다. 영상에는 많은 현지 팬들의 댓글이 달렸는데요. 토트넘 팬으로서 나는 지금 죽어도 여한이 없습니다. 이번 시즌에 무엇을 해내든 못하든 토트넘 팬들은 지금 당장 흥분할 이유가 분명히 존재합니다. 현재 리그 1위와 무패는 매우 좋습니다. 완전히 중위권이었던 팀이 9경기 만에 여기까지 올라갔다는 게 놀랍고 부러운 일이다. 앞으로 시즌에 무슨 일이 일어나든 토트넘 팬들은 마침내 기대할 만한 팀을 갖게 되었습니다. 포스텍과 소니가 이 팀과 함께 특별한 요리를 하는 것을 지켜보는 게 행복하고 기쁩니다. 풀럼은 나쁘지 않았는데 토트넘이 너무 잘했다. 나는 아스날 팬이고 토트넘이 얼마나 잘 플레이하는지 보는 것은 고통스럽습니다. 그러나 그들은 대단합니다. 사람들은 토트넘이 무너질 것이라고 계속 말한다. 모든 클럽이 어느 시점에 그러하듯이 그들은 언젠가는 미끄러질 수밖에 없다. 하지만 그들은 계속 진화하고 있고 소니가 건강만 유지한다면 내년에는 정상에 오를 것이다.
And Maddison and Son, they have struck up some rapport. Yeah. I would say that is a golden sort of axis for Spurs at the moment.
Isn't that just the case, Rory, of good players playing with good players? You know, we sometimes try to overthink things. I think we always talk about this with England, like get your best players on the pitch and they'll find a way to kind of work with each other.
Yeah,
and Maddison's a good footballer, and so is Son.
Yeah, and they're naturally in tune with one another. They're both very intelligent footballers, and this Maddison partnership, it's going to be very fruitful. It's going to be very fruitful.
The dart throw-ins annoying me, everything.
Yeah, it's very synchronised, isn't it? The synchronisation of that is bang on. Yeah, they're very good at that, and it's a mirror image of the way that they link up on the pitch.
Horrible way of saying it.
It really is, but
you know, there's a part of me
good.
though. It's obviously you guys are London supporters of Chelsea and Arsenal. There's a part of me as a Liverpool fan. I'm happy to see Son back to where Son was the seasons before last. Like, I've always thought I've always said that I think Son's the best finisher in the Premier League. I know people debate that. I don't know if he's left-footed or right-footed. He's that good. Very Kevin De Bruyne-esque. And as soon as he got that ball in his right foot, I just knew already it was a goal. You just know it's going in. And I'm happy to see Son back.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if he's been wasted out wide all these years with Harry Kane up front. He was obviously shunted to those areas where he got between the posts less often than he does now. But it's the balls into him. I mean, Maddison was fizzing the ball into his feet, wasn't he? Over and over again. It was. I think if I was the striker and I was getting that kind of service from the guy in behind, I would be loving life. So yeah, look, they're flying at the moment, but they need to stay fit and healthy, don't they? Because if they don't, if one or both are out for a prolonged period of time, that is when I think Tottenham might start to slip up a few times.
All right, let's hear from the manager, Ange Postecoglou. He was asked if Spurs can win the league. This is what he said.
You're on top of the table. The last 23 teams that have started the season with as many points as you have from this sort of juncture have gone on to finish in the top 4. What are the targets that you're setting yourselves now?
Same as they were at the start of the year, just to try and be the best football team we can be, mate, and see where that takes us.
Can you win the title?
Unless there's something in the rules that says Tottenham can't, yeah, I think every team can.
Oh, I like that. Don't you like that? I mean, we're going early though, aren't we, with the can you win the title questions after 9 games? I thought when Sam asked that first statement about, you know, teams that started this way, I thought he was going to say have all gone on to win the league. But obviously not. A made top 4. It's not early, you don't think? After
really.
9 games.
I like his grumpy charisma.
Love it.
I do
that
like
kind of
it.
Aussie.
Yeah, it's a very grumpy charisma. But I don't think it's that early anymore. 9 games in. I think the way that the Premier League table looks today, it's not, of course it's not the answer, but it's certainly an indicator as to how it will look in May.
미국 NBC 스포츠는 토트넘이 점점 더 강해지는 이유가 무엇인가라는 주제를 가지고 방송을 진행했습니다.
It was workmanlike, but in the end, Spurs get the job done. What allowed them to take more and more control of this match, really, as the game got longer and longer?
Well, I think Danny touched on it. It's their energy, because they're set up really well tactically. Talk about how they're now at the back, flood numbers forward, good on the ball, but they're relentless. I mean, It's not their football didn't get them the goals today. It was their pressure and forcing Fulham to make mistakes and capitalizing on those mistakes. I mean, there's so much good going on. They're doing so many things right at the moment. Postecoglou's team, the feel-good factor of good in possession, good pressuring. They're big players. Son, Madison, always coming through with the goals, always coming through with the key pass. Defensively, keeping clean sheets, 4 clean sheets already. I mean, they're top of the table, and they play again. They play again Friday. I mean, going into next weekend, they could be 5 points clear. Is that right? Maybe. Yeah.
영국 디 애슬레틱 풋볼 팟캐스트에서는 손흥민이 어떻게 넥스트 레벨이 되었나라는 주제로 해리 케인이 떠나고 난 뒤 변화에 대해 이야기합니다.
But yeah, I mean, you know, when Kane went, I think a lot of people, they didn't want to come out and say it publicly because the fans would have been uproar, but, you know, the replacement, such as it was, is Son. And it's interesting as well because Postecoglou started with Richarlison through the middle, first 3 games, and it just wasn't really working, both because Richarlison is lacking confidence, but also because Son is just so much better through the middle than he is out on the left now, and you've got to take advantage of your best players, and he is an absolutely world-class player. And he's showing that again.
Well, I suppose he's being fed by Maddison instead now, isn't he? So that's kind of the creative side of it is being taken care of. I still think Son is like massively underrated, like relative to how consistent he is, the number of goals he scores. I know like nobody who actually you have a conversation with will ever say Son's not a good player, but I still don't think he's someone that when you see him on the Tottenham's team sheet as an opponent, you think, oh shit. But actually then he plays and you're like, God, he's really good. He's really good. And I think this season he's become a lot stronger. I did think watching him last season, I didn't realise that around the hernia issue, I thought he might have
gone over that hill.
Gone over the hill, basically. Yeah. Like I thought,
yeah.
You know, he's a player that had relied on pace to a certain extent, that was making a lot of runs from left through the middle. And I thought, how's he going to adapt his game? Is he going to be able to do that? Does he just... I even when one of the Saudi clubs was in for him, I think, at the start of the summer. And when I saw that, I thought, yeah, it makes sense, actually. Like, in terms of one of their more ambitious, a bit like the Ruben Neves one, I was like, yeah, it feels a bit early, but okay, based on last season, wouldn't shock me if Spurs just thought, okay. So no, he's been really good. And he also, I mean, even when he was immediately made captain as well, I think Tottenham put out the video of him being given the captaincy. I mean, he hadn't struck me as a natural captain, but managers they're just looking for very different things these days in captains. Look at that. When Ødegaard was made Arsenal captain, I think most people thought that's a bit odd, and then actually it just kind of makes sense once they start playing and they're consistent.
Yeah, and he is so loved in the dressing room. That was a big reason. But you know, the whole logic behind making him captain was that he is just, it kind of unites all the different areas of the dressing room, and then you have...
여러분의 소중한 의견을 남겨주세요. 바쁘시더라도 구독과 좋아요 부탁드립니다. 지금까지 단골이시였습니다. 시청해주셔서 감사합니다.